Hello, Shapers. So welcome to another episode of Coffee with Leaders. Today, we have a truly inspiring guest with us. She is the founding curator of Mohammedia Hub from Morocco and the community champion of Morocco, Global Shapers Community, an initiative of the World Economic Forum. Marhaban bikum, Rim. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. Shukran. Thank you, Gajana. Thank you so much for the invitation.
So, Rim, before we dive into our main topic today, could you share a bit about your professional life and the experiences that lead you to the current role in your professional life?
Okay, so today I'm a professional coach and art therapist. So that's basically what I do today. But I'm also I don't really like to define myself just by my job because I do a lot of other things. Like I go on stage a lot. I like theater. I do theater actually. I also do like stand-up comedy, singing. So it's I think today we can afford to be so many things at the same time. And so that's what I try to vouch for, especially with the young generation. How did I get here? I think we'll talk more about this later in the interview, but basically, I started in a very classical way. So basically, I'm a business major, did my master's in marketing, worked in the corporate world for a couple of years, and then the questions started popping up. Um, what am I doing? Is this for me? I never intended to be a coach. At the beginning, it was more like, I need to understand how did I get myself here and how do I never do it again? Because obviously it was a very painful period in my life. And once I started discovering this, I was like, oh my God, how did we never learn this? How did we never learn about understanding emotions? How did we never learn about understanding ourselves, about how to communicate our needs in a proper way instead of just bursting into tears or like exploding with anger? Um, so that was the beginning of what led me to where I am. And today it's become my full-time job, and I'm very happy about it.
Amazing. You have been a global shaper for more than 7 years now. Can you share some memorable insights and experiences from your amazing journey as a global shaper?
Yeah, it makes me a little bit old when you say it that way, but it's okay. I accept. No, I'm just messing with you. But the reality is, I joined the Global Shapers in that period of my life, like in a when I was actually questioning everything that was happening. And so it was 2016. And my friend Zineb, who's also a curator of the Rabat Hub at the time, was basically nagging me about joining the Shapers community. And I was like, no, it's just going to be like one other network. It's just going to be like one other. I don't need to be part of like another cool club. Um, and then she was like, just come and see for yourself. And if you don't like it, fine. And the moment I met Shapers, I fell in love with the community because it was really people carrying life missions. It was people doing things for other people that they really cared about. Everyone had amazing life journeys. And it was like, okay, I really want to be part of this community. So that was my very first encounter with the community was in Geneva 2016. It was at the time it was called the Annual Curators Meeting, the ACM. And every curator I met had a wonderful story, a wonderful journey, a wonderful mission. And I was like, okay. So when I came back to Morocco, October 2016, I was like, okay, I'm part of this. I want to join. So I've joined in 2018. I was curator of the Rabat Hub, and then last year, because at 33 normally we become alumna, and I was like, okay, how can I be ready for this journey, and how can I give back to the community? And the best way I could think of was to create a hub in my hometown because I was with the Rabat Hub, which is like around an hour away from where I live. But I do actually live in Mohammedia, which is a very small city in between the two capitals, the administrative capital and the economic capital of Morocco. But it's basically a small town where nothing happens, and it has a lot of students. So it's like the best gift I can give those students is introduce them to the Shapers community. And that's how I became community champion of Morocco. Soon after that, I was called by Kenza in the WEF, and she was like, who's the community specialist for MENA? And she was like, are you interested in continuing the adventure? I was like, yes, I am. Thank you so much. So it's what is just to answer the second part of your question, like one of the best memories, I think it's every time you meet shapers from around the world. Because there is one part which is working with our communities and the enormous learning we have. But there's also the second part, and I think to me it's the most powerful part of the Shapers community, is to get to meet people from around the world and understand the nuances of their cultures, of their history, which we don't get through mainstream media. I honestly don't think we can get that level of understanding of a culture unless you meet someone from there. So that has been one of the best highlights.
I have a very interesting memory with Rim because she recently hosted an amazing session in during the Shape MENA event last month. So thank you for that. It was very helpful for many shapers.
Thank you so
So
much.
now, today we are focusing on impact area of improving health and well-being, especially mental health. Rim,
Yeah.
with the rapid changes brought about by the fourth industrial revolution, issues like mental health and particularly quarter-life crisis have become prevalent. As a professional mindfulness and meditation trainer, can you shed light on the importance of addressing this problem through your own life journey or own life story?
Well, talking about the fourth industrial revolution, of course, you cannot mention the fourth industrial revolution without mentioning the book that Professor Klaus Schwab has written about the fourth industrial revolution. And it talks about like those huge changes that we are witnessing now in the workplace, amongst many other changes. Of course, there are changes in technology, changes in so many areas. But for the purpose of our conversation, one of the biggest changes we are seeing is in the workplace. And there's another book that I would totally recommend. It's actually from a shaper called Kai Van Kien, and it's called What is Water? And What is Water is honestly one of the best books I can recommend for any person going through the quarter life crisis. It basically says that with the fourth industrial revolution, with everything changing around us, with the VUCA world that we live in, so it's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, and it's ambiguous. So with all of this going around us and with the overload of information that we have, our best bet is to come back to ourselves. And basically it says, it starts the book with this very nice stoic approach, and he's like, stoicism is your only way out, because in stoicism, the stoic philosophers say that you shouldn't focus on what you can't control because you can't control it anyway. And instead, they advocate for changing what you can control, or like focusing, putting your focus on what you can control. And the best thing we can control and understand is ourselves. How do I fit in this world? How can I contribute in this world? Now, talking about the quarter life crisis, I was patient zero in my own journey, because I went through it at a very early age. I think at age 23, 24. So basically, I lost my father at age 24. And it was honestly it can sound harsh, but it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, in the sense that it woke me up to the fact that life has a deadline. And what do you want to do with your life? And you better do it now, because you're not promised tomorrow in the literal sense of it. I mean, we all know it theoretically, but when you go through something like that, you're like, oh my God, so, oh yes, I am going to go one day. And so what do I want to do with whatever number of days or hours I have left? So that was the start. And at 26 is really the age where I was like, okay, I really need to figure this out. My mental health helped me, actually, because I went through a burnout followed by depression. And so it was like, honestly, I love it, because yeah, there are two ways of looking at this. Either, oh my God, poor me, and this is it. Or you can look at it as, wow, my psyche or like actually blocked me so that I could stop and figure it out. And that's the way I choose to look at it. Sometimes we are obliged by our own bodies to stop, to reflect. And talking about the Shapers community, and because you mentioned mindfulness, this is how I discovered mindfulness. My first session within the Shapers and Rabat, there was a young man who was like, I want to offer you a meditation session. Okay, I'd never meditated before. I was anxious all the time. I was going through my quarter lifetime crisis, and I meditated. And it was the first 10 minutes of peace that I had in a long time. And I was like, wait a minute, I need to know what this is. I need to understand what this is. And I want to go and try it even more. So I joined a meditation class, and I still meditate to this day. And I got certified in Thailand in 2020 as a meditation trainer. But the point is, it's crazy how sometimes you're looking for answers everywhere, and the answer is right in front of you. It's you. So go back to yourself. Go back to the essence of who you are. What do you like? What do you not like? How do you feel? Just asking yourself that question, that very simple question of, how do I feel when I do this or when I do that? Does this bring me joy? Does this bring me anxiety? Does this conversation that I'm having with this person right now, does it feel good? And our generation is one of the, I mean, I'm by no means an exception. I think there was a study by LinkedIn in 2015, 75% of young people aged 25 to 33 experienced a quarter lifetime crisis. So that's a lot of people. And I heard a recent study, I think in 2020 went to 85 or something like that. Of course, COVID kind of had its impact on us as well. But the idea is, in a quarter life the quarter life crisis, just for people who are listening to us who might not know what it looks like, is just this existential angst of wondering, am I in the right path? Is this the life that I want to have? And generally it comes slowly. Like at first you'll have a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of fear, and then slowly it goes into feeling like you're watching your life pass by, like you're literally sitting as a spectator in your own life as days just go by. And if you don't pay attention, it can end up in depression, it can end up in burnout, it can end up in many different ways. But ideally, the reason I talk about it a lot in my social media and I talk about it with people like you, is raising awareness. You're not alone. If you're hearing this conversation, you are not alone. You're not weird. Your feelings are legitimate. You're not some crazy spoiled person, and you have to listen to that. You don't have to quit your job. You don't have to quit your husband or wife if you're married. You don't have to do those big life decisions just yet. Let's first start with the basics. Who are you? What do you want? Where do you want to go? And then from there, you can make a decision.
So in Global Shapers community, we implement a lot of projects on the mental health and the well-being. So you may also have implemented projects on mental health throughout your as a global shaper. Can you share some insight about that?
I think, and this is going to come back to what I was saying about the way shapers impact. So in 2018, I was elected curator of the Rabat Hub. And so with a lot of other shapers, we met in Geneva and we started talking about mental health and how it was important. And I attended the mental health session, and then we were like four people, a therapist from Colombia, Sanju, that you might know
Yeah, yeah,
from Thailand,
Thailand.
um, Fatem Zahra from Casablanca Hub, and myself from Rabat Hub. And so we sat down and we were like talking about what can we do, and is there anything we can do together? And from that very simple conversation, there was a person in the web that was very kind to like also help us organize a cross-hub collaboration. And it ended up in a global mental health campaign where we were like, we don't want to we don't want to be lecturing people on what they have to do. We don't want to be talking for people with mental health conditions. We want them to be talking about themselves. And so it was basically to break the taboo around mental health. Let's give the floor to people with mental health conditions to speak about their journey. And it was amazing because I think for 2 weeks we had 20 videos. And we were like, okay, it's enough. It's good. 20 is a good number. So we're going to be posting like one in the morning, one in the afternoon during like the mental health week. First day, videos start coming out. We received more than 100. We only needed one or two people to start talking for everyone else to feel, oh my God, I'm legitimate in my quote unquote crazy, you know? Like my special version of crazy is okay. And this is amazing because we've had people with very difficult life stories, people with bipolar, people with depression, people with anxiety, people who have tried to attempt to their life, and all of these people were telling their stories. And as individuals, we tend to think, in my country, it's worse. I honestly, I was guilty of it. I was like, in Morocco, nobody cares about mental health. And then I heard people from Canada saying that they felt discriminated against because of their mental health condition. People from the United States, and you're like, oh my God. Oh, so it's not just us. So it's everyone. Oh, great. You know? So, and it gives you even perspective. And this is the beauty of belonging to this global community is you get to see it's the same everywhere. Yes, some countries have better legislation that maybe we can learn from their and we can learn from their best practices. There was this wonderful project in Zimbabwe called the Friendship. I think it was called the Friendship Bench, and basically they trained grandmas just to listen because grandmas, we trust them. Everybody trusts grandmas, and so the grandmas would sit in a bench, and then um, young people from the neighborhood would know that they're allowed to go and talk to them. And this very simple project actually was a very important one. Like it seems simple, but it had a great impact on the community. And you hear, I mean, this is just one project, but there are so many others. And just being part of something more human than community based is a wonderful experience.
So she is the one of the best mentor for mental health projects if you are working in Global Shapers community on specifically on mental health projects. And she has a lot of shapers who worked with her during her project implementation. So you can connect her. I will drop her email in the comment section of my video.
Yeah.
Let's move toward the solution part. So, what advice do you have for individuals feeling stuck in their life, especially considering the challenges brought about by the fast-paced challenges in today's world? Individual
Um,
wants to if they are feeling some mental health problem, individual shaper or even individual youth. So, what they can do to to and solve this problem?
I'll tell you what I did, and then I'll give you like more generic things. So the first things first is you have to sit with yourself. The only way to go or to overcome whatever you are feeling is to go through the pain, because I think we advocate a lot for happiness and peace, and it's beautiful when you say it that way, but you don't get there by hoping for peace and happiness. You slay your demons first, you do your homework, and then you find peace. You overcome whatever challenges you have, and then you find happiness. You have to confront yourself about what it is that you're doing or not doing that's getting you where you are. So I would say step one is just honestly just tell the truth. Tell the truth about yourself, about what you know you want, about what you know you don't want, about what you like, what you don't like. I think it's a very important first step, just telling the truth and not having any judgment about this truth. Because sometimes we think that accountability means you're guilty, and it's not. It's just responsibility. It's not guilt. The good news is that if whatever you did got you where you are, a different action will lead to a different result. So that's good. It's good news. If I say, oh my God, there's nothing I can do about it, I'm stripping myself from a lot of power that I have over my own life. So I'd say, congratulations, wherever you are. You did something that got you there. Now do differently and you'll get somewhere else. Second of all, tell the truth. Tell the truth in terms of sometimes when we are angry with our work, with our life, we tend to say, nothing is working. And that's a very bad sentence because you're omitting so many good things that are happening right now because one or two or three are not working well. So just let's be stoic. Let's just observe and say, this is working and this is not working. And I'm not putting any judgment on any of it. I'm just an objective observant of my life. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. Even when people say, I hate my job, I'm like, okay, do you like your coworkers? Do you like the fact that you're growing in this work? Do you like the hours? Maybe you have flexible hours, or you don't work on Friday, or you don't work on Saturday, whatever. Like, what is it that you like, and what is it that you do not like? Why is it important? Because if you just say, I hate my job and I'm going to change my job, you could have a job tomorrow, a different job with the same problems. Oh, I hate my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my husband or whatever. You marry another person that's exactly the same with a different first name. You have to know, what are we avoiding for our next adventure? It's true. You have to know. So after we do this sort of biopsy of your life, then you get to look at yourself, turn inwards. And when I say turn inwards, it means, who are you? What are your values? How do you know your values? Well, look at what you're doing right now. It will give you a very good idea of your values. If you have a shitty life, odds are you have shitty values. Maybe you're not aware of them. Maybe you did not put them into awareness. So many of us, for example, will say, I value honesty, but you're lying through your teeth all day long. It's more in that way. So it's good. You know you value honesty. You want to be like an honest person. Great. How can you be that? You value family. A lot of people say, I value family and friends. And I'm like, how much time do you spend with your family and friends? Well, sometimes an hour a week if I have time. You don't value family and friends. And by the way, strong relationships are the number one indicator of happiness, according to the Harvard longevity study. So there was a study on happiness done by Harvard at the end of the First World War, and I think they followed the cohort through more than 75 years. The last ones are in their 90s. The last ones alive are in their 90s right now, and they followed so many criteria. So it was, does money make you happy? Does marrying make you happy? Does having kids make you happy? Does this and that? And they had like so many criteria that they checked. By the way, if people are interested, you can just Google Harvard happiness study or Harvard longevity study on happiness, and you'll find it. It's on. There's a TED Talk. There are many papers that you can read about that. But basically, the number one indicator was the quality of relationships. So I would say check the quality of your relationships. And if you are not having good relationships, join the Shapers community, or or find another community that you can, where you can serve. I think service, if you are completely lost and you are not in a place where you want to dig inside yourself or see anything, be of service to someone else. Any any service, honestly, like any service. It doesn't matter. It's not your life decision. It's not a life decision. It's just feeling that you matter in a way. It's just that. And you don't know what you don't know. I met meditation through Global Shapers. I would have never intended for that to happen. I didn't even know meditation. Like I used to look at people meditating and think, oh my God, this is so boring. I had no idea. I had never experienced it. So open yourself to new experiences. Um, so I'd say focus on, first of all, what you consume in terms of food, in terms of videos, in terms of social media. Be very, 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 very careful with that because we are what we consume. Everybody knows the expression garbage in, garbage out. Be very careful and be selective. And also the energies of people that you are around. If you're if you don't feel at ease somewhere, you're not a tree. Move, or at least be aware that this environment is not good for me, so I have to protect myself. Just bring that to awareness. Don't just engage and engage and engage. The second thing is baby steps. What I mean by baby steps is if you are going through a hard time, don't expect your life to change like this. It's going to take time. And the sooner you engage in any baby step, so start sports, move your body. If you're not moving, move. It can be just walking, it can be dance, it can be whatever. Do that. Third, so garbage in, garbage out. Move your body, practice awareness, and try to find a community to which you can belong that shares your values. And if you can't find it in your physical space, online. There are many groups, many forums, many coaches, many people now that share a lot of good content. And when you start exposing yourself to that type of content without even meaning to, you will be influenced and you will start thinking differently. And when you think differently, everything changes. I'll finish by this. There are two ways of looking at the world. It's either a window, so it's something else, and you are behind a window, or it's a mirror. And everything you see around you is just a reflection of what you have inside. And if you want to have a better reflection, you have to improve what's inside. Change your focus, and the world that you're looking at will change.
It's
I hope that gives you some
true.
answers.
It's truly, truly amazing. So, as I mentioned earlier, I got a chance to attend the amazing session at Shape MENA event, and many shapers appreciated your session. So,
Thank you.
if any global shapers want to attend your session about mindfulness and all the things about knowing your feelings and all the things, so do you host any sessions online for the shapers or youth or any organization? And if they want to connect you about that, can you share the contact details for it?
They can connect with me on my Instagram page, Dream by Reem. So it's dream as in dreaming, because I do believe that people who have dreams will never, as long as you believe in a dream, as long as you have hope for a dream, you will never feel depressed. So that's Dream by Reem, R-I-M. You can find the information there. Up until now, I um, I hosted a lot of sessions just in like a physical presence, but we started doing it online thanks to the Riyadh Hub, to which I want to say thank you, because they contacted me and they were like, we want that session and we want it online, so figure out how you're going to do it. And so if any shapers are interested, please just reach out to me and we can organize it online. I found now the tools to do it, so like I'm very happy to share with you all the information and the experience online.
As we wrap up, do you have any specific advice or suggestions for new global shapers or the youth who are looking to make a positive impact on their communities and beyond?
I like this question. Ah, I've been given a lot of advice, so I need to be careful with that. No, I'll just be honest. So if honestly, there are two main things that I would share with you. The first one is intention, the power of intention. Make sure you're going in with the right intention. I know we live in an Instagram world and in a very difficult environment now where everyone wants to do good, but not necessarily for the right reasons. So make sure you have your beneficiaries in mind, and you're there. We are there as everyone. We are there to serve. And sometimes, why I'm saying this is that sometimes you're going to have to be the follower in serving to help someone else achieve their goal. And it really is not any less good, or it doesn't make you not a leader, or it doesn't make you not good enough to lead. You will have your own moment, but please do engage in also helping others shine. If you don't know what you want yet, the best way you can start is just go there and be of service and help people and just show up and help others achieve their missions. And with enough time and effort, you will see your own calling come into you, because sometimes you don't go looking for your calling, it comes looking for you. And that's very important. The second thing is be willing to be a beginner. And what I mean by be willing to be a beginner is that most people don't engage with their communities or don't take leadership positions because they think they're not ready enough or they're not good enough. And that I was guilty of that, and I'll admit to it. I still sometimes struggle with imposter syndrome. I'm like, oh my God, is it good enough? Am I ready to do this? Guess what? You're never going to be ready, and that's okay. And you just have to engage and be an eternal learner, because sometimes we will go with the best of intentions, but we'll make mistakes. And the idea is not to take it personally, but just learn from your mistake and keep going. And with time, you're going to have enough knowledge, enough um, experience, enough network as well to have the impact that you have, like that you dream to achieve. Just take it step by step. And I am sure that if you have the right intention, if you put the right actions into place, there is no reason why it shouldn't happen for you.
Amazing. And thank you so much, Rim, for sharing your time and knowledge with us
Okay.
today. It been an insightful conversation, and I'm sure our listeners and shapers, especially, have gained a lot from your experiences. That
Thank you so much.
wraps up.
Thank you so much, by the way, for inviting me. Thank you so much for having me on your talks with leaders. I'm very, very pleased to have this conversation with you.
So that wraps up this episode of Coffee with Leaders. Join us next time for another inspiring conversation with leaders who are making difference in the world. Until then, stay inspired, stay motivated. Thank you.
Thank you.